Okay, gotta be honest. All this stuff on being a good SPED teacher,
Yeah,
it's a lot. Feels more like I'm training for like an Iron Man,
I hear you.
not just, walking into a classroom.
It is a lot to get your head around.
Right.
Being a special ed teacher, it's a whole different skill set.
Yeah.
And burnout, oh, that's real.
And honestly, that's kind of why I wanted to do this deep dive.
Huh.
I'm excited to learn all this, but I'm
Sure.
also a little freaked out about like getting overwhelmed.
You are so not the only one who feels that way.
Okay, good.
But that's what we're here for. Break it down.
Please.
Give you the tools, not just to survive,
Yeah.
but to actually thrive.
Yeah.
Think of this as your
Okay.
SPED teacher survival kit,
I like it.
full of practical stuff, things that actually work.
Okay, that makes me feel better already.
Good. So first things first, got to define what we're even talking about.
Right. Yeah.
Special education at its core, it's about recognizing that kids learn in all sorts of ways.
Yeah.
And our job is to make sure every kid gets their chance to succeed.
That makes sense in theory, but
Yeah.
how do we actually do that? Like, I keep saying this word inclusion.
Oh, yeah. Inclusion's huge in special ed these days.
Okay.
It means making sure that kids with disabilities
Mm-hmm.
are learning alongside their peers as MUCH as possible.
Okay.
So imagine, right, the classroom.
Yeah.
Some kids have regular pencils. Others have those, super ergonomic ones because their hand strength's different.
Right. Makes sense.
Everyone's writing, but some need different tools to get it done.
Okay. I like that analogy. So it's not about making it easier.
No,
It's about making it fair.
exactly. And there's actually a legal term for this.
Oh, okay.
Least restrictive environment. LRE for short.
LRE. Got it.
It means we got to find the setting that works best for each kid
Mm-hmm.
while still keeping them with their classmates as much as we can.
So there's a legal side to all this, too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm seeing ADEA, Section 504. It's a lot of acronyms.
It's like alphabet soup, I know. But think of these as the blueprints that make sure kids are getting what they need.
Oh, okay.
So IDA, for example.
Yeah.
That stands for Individuals with Disabilities Education Act.
Long title.
Right.
Yeah.
But it guarantees this thing called FAPE.
FAPE, another one.
Free Appropriate Public Education.
Yeah.
Meaning every student, no matter their disability,
Mm-hmm.
has the right to an education that's made for them.
Right.
And it's free for their families.
That makes sense. But how do we figure out what those
Yeah.
unique needs actually are for each kid?
That's where the IEP comes in, the Individualized Education Program.
The IEP.
It's like the roadmap for that student.
Okay.
Their specific goals, what services they'll get, what accommodations. And this isn't just some wish list. It's legally binding.
Oh, wow.
Schools have to follow it.
Okay, so IEPs are serious business then.
They are. And then ADA
Mm-hmm.
and Section 504.
Right, those are the other ones.
Think of those as like broader umbrellas. ADA is the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Mm-hmm.
That one makes sure people with disabilities have equal access
Right.
to everything, not just school.
So like buildings have to have ramps, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also, it means the curriculum itself
Oh, interesting.
has to be accessible.
Got it.
And Section 504, it's similar.
Okay.
Protects students from discrimination based on disability
Mm-hmm.
in any program that gets federal money.
So even if a kid doesn't have an IEP,
Uh-huh.
they might still need help under Section 504.
It's wider, yeah. So, like, a kid with ADHD
Yeah.
might not need a full IEP under IDEA,
Right.
but might still need, like, extra time on tests
Makes sense.
or to sit in a certain spot so they can focus better.
Okay.
504 would cover that.
This legal stuff's making more sense now.
Good.
But what about just like the day-to-day in the classroom?
Oh, yeah, the
A
reality.
room full of different needs,
Oh.
especially behavior. I'm kind of nervous about that, honestly.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
One of the sources really stressed that the best way to handle behavior
Yeah.
is to prevent the problems in the first place.
Okay, so like be proactive.
Exactly.
Right.
Create a positive environment from the get-go.
I mean, that sounds great, but how?
One tip I loved,
Hmm?
get the kids involved in making the classroom rules.
Oh, interesting.
So it's not just you dictating.
Teacher says.
Right. It's a discussion.
Okay.
What kind of classroom do they want to be in?
So it's more like a shared agreement.
Gives them ownership,
Yeah.
and it builds that positive vibe
Yeah.
we're going for.
Got it.
Everyone feels respected, heard.
Mm-hmm.
You need less discipline later on.
That makes a lot of sense.
But, of course,
Yeah.
there are going to be times,
Right.
despite your best efforts,
Uh-huh.
kids' behavior goes sideways. So what then?
Yeah, what then? What do you do?
Two main approaches, proactive and reactive.
Okay.
Proactives like setting the stage.
Right.
Reactives, you're in the moment tools
Got it.
when things are already happening.
Give me an example of each. I'm all about practical tips here.
Okay, so proactive, one that's super helpful.
Yeah.
Consistent routines. Visual schedules are great for this.
Oh, right. Visual schedules.
Especially for kids who need predictability.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're taking the guesswork out of their day.
Less anxiety.
Exactly. Everyone stays on track.
Okay, so that actually helps all kids,
Totally.
not just SPE.
Right.
What about reactive? Like kids already having a meltdown.
De-escalation is your best friend there.
Okay.
Instead of mirroring their energy, you got to be calm, steady presence.
Yeah.
Speak softly. Give them space if they need it.
Uh-huh.
Redirect their attention. You're showing them how to be the regulated grown-up.
That's a good point. You're modeling it.
And that can help them regulate themselves.
And what about consequences? Do those always have to happen?
Consequences are part of it, yeah.
Okay.
But the key is they got to be logical and related to the behavior, not just punishment.
Okay. Example.
So, kid refuses to clean up their art stuff.
Happens all the time.
Logical consequence. They clean it up during free painting time later.
Oh, so they're learning from it.
Right.
Not just getting punished.
It's about responsibility.
Way better than just like go to timeout.
Exactly. Now, sometimes, even with all that good stuff,
right.
You got your positive environment, you're being proactive, reactive. There could be kids who need more targeted help.
Okay.
That's where BIP comes in. Behavioral Intervention Plan.
The BIPs. Those seem like a whole other beast.
They can be, yeah.
When do you know a kid needs one?
It's important to remember.
Okay.
BIPs are for persistent issues, not just every little thing.
So it's serious stuff.
You got to be really impacting the kid's learning.
Okay.
Or the learning of other kids in the class.
Got it. It's going to be a big deal. So, like, what are the steps to making a BIP?
First step is figuring out why a behavior is happening at all.
Okay, so like the root cause.
You got to be a detective. This is called a functional behavior assessment.
Wait.
Yep. You're looking for triggers.
Yeah.
What did the behavior do for the kid? What's keeping it going?
So it's not just about making it stop.
Yeah.
It's figuring out what's underneath it all.
You got it.
Yeah.
Once you know that, you can define the behavior.
Okay.
Really specifically.
Right.
So not just Sarah's disruptive, but Sarah gets out of her seat 5 times during reading time.
Oh, so it's measurable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then you teach replacement behaviors.
So instead of don't do X, it's here's a better way to do it.
Exactly. So Sarah keeps getting up.
Yeah.
Maybe she needs to learn to ask for a break.
Okay.
Or you give her a fidget toy, helps her focus.
Got it.
And lastly, you got to monitor and adjust that BIP.
So it's not just set it and forget it.
No. It's a living document. Things change.
Makes sense.
You got to keep tweaking it.
Okay, this is starting to feel less scary.
Good.
More like a puzzle I can solve.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about accommodations.
Okay.
The tools we use to level the playing field for kids with disabilities.
So accommodations, right?
And it's important to know how those are different from modifications.
Okay, yeah, I get those mixed up sometimes.
Think of it this way. Accommodations change how a student learns. Modifications change what they learn.
Okay.
So accommodations, it's like those ergonomic pencils.
Right, we talked about those.
Everyone's working on the same writing assignment,
Yeah,
but some need different tools to access it.
makes sense.
Modifications, that'd be like giving them a shorter version of the assignment.
Oh, okay, so it changes the actual work itself.
Exactly. Accommodations are equal access. Modifications are adjusted content.
I think I'm getting it now. So there are different types of accommodations too, right?
You got it. Academic, behavioral, and sensory.
Okay, let's start with academic. Those seem the most straightforward.
Probably, yeah. Like audiobooks, large print, that kind of thing.
Right, right. But what are some that might surprise a new teacher?
One that people forget sometimes.
Right.
Letting kids use speech to text for writing
Oh, interesting.
doesn't change what they got to write. It
Yeah.
just removes the barrier of physically writing it out.
That's smart. So it's removing obstacles, not lowering expectations.
Exactly. Okay, what about behavioral accommodations?
Those are harder for me to picture, honestly.
Sometimes the accommodation is just recognizing
Yeah.
that a kid needs to move and building that into the day.
Oh, okay.
So a kid with ADHD,
Right.
maybe they need frequent breaks
Got it.
or even just to stand at their desk while they work.
So it's not always about giving them things.
Sometimes it's about flexibility,
Right.
meeting their sensory needs.
Okay, that makes sense. And sensory accommodations. What are some that are kind of unexpected?
Weighted blankets, fidget tools.
Those are becoming more common. I've seen those around.
But new teachers might not realize how essential those can be for some kids.
Right.
Not just toys, they're tools.
They help them regulate.
Exactly. Helps them focus.
This is so interesting. It really is about understanding.
It is.
Different kids need different things to learn.
And that's where universal design for learning comes in.
UDL, yeah, I've heard of that.
It's about designing lessons that are flexible.
Okay.
Accessible to all learners right from the start.
So you're not having to, like, retrofit it later.
Exactly. Less work in the long run.
Remind me the basics of UDL again.
3 main principles.
Okay.
Multiple means of engagement, representation, and action and expression.
Okay. That's a mouthful.
So let's say you're teaching about the American Revolution.
Okay, I'm picturing textbooks, maps, those kinds of things.
Right. But with UDL, you got to think,
Mm-hmm.
how do I engage kids with this in different ways?
Okay.
Some kids love drama. They can make a play.
Right.
Visual learners, maybe given graphic novels
Okay.
or documentaries,
So it's offering lots of entry points to the same information.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how can they show what they've learned?
Oh, right. Not just one way of doing it.
Some write essays, some make dioramas, some present,
So they get to choose.
and you're tapping into their strengths.
This is making so much sense. It probably, more work up front, though, right?
It's an investment, for sure,
Yeah.
but it pays off. And this leads us right into differentiated instruction.
Oh, differentiated instruction. I always get confused about that.
It's basically recognizing
Yeah.
in any classroom, you got kids at different levels.
Right. Different learning styles, too.
So some kids are ready for harder stuff.
Yeah.
Others need more help with the basics.
So you're adjusting the lesson based on...
On each kid's needs. Yep. Even within the same lesson.
Okay, that's what I wasn't getting.
Not making it easier or harder, just making sure everyone's...
Challenged at the right level.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be super complicated.
Oh, good.
Different reading levels, different activities.
That's it.
Just got to be thoughtful about it.
I'm starting to see how this all fits together.
Good. But got to be realistic.
Yeah.
Even the most organized teacher
Right.
gets overwhelmed sometimes.
Yeah.
And with SPED,
Yeah.
you've got a whole team of adults involved.
So true. Where do they all fit in?
Such an important point. You're not alone in this.
Okay, good.
SPE teachers are like the masters of collaboration.
That makes sense.
You've got your paraprofessionals, related service providers,
Yeah.
administrators. It takes a village.
Okay, let's break it down.
Yeah.
Let's start with paraprofessionals. Any tips for making that partnership work?
Clear communication is key.
Okay.
Find roles from the get-go.
So everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
Mm.
And your peer eyes,
Yeah.
they're your eyes and ears in the classroom.
They see everything.
Encourage them to share what they see, ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
They often have insights you might miss.
That's a good point. So it's a true partnership.
It is, not just you telling them what to do.
Okay, what about related service providers like speech therapists, OTs?
Same thing, got to communicate
Mm.
regularly.
Okay.
Make sure you're all on the same page
Right.
about the kids' goals.
Mm.
Making sure everyone's strategies are working together.
Got it.
Schedule meetings, check-ins,
So you're constantly in touch.
and don't be afraid to reach out in between if something comes up.
Good to know. So it seems like communication is just crucial,
For sure.
no matter who you're working with. What else makes for a good team?
Mutual respect. That's huge, GE.
Yeah,
Everyone brings different expertise to the table.
that's true.
Value that. And celebrate the wins together.
Oh, I like that.
It's not just about problems.
Right.
It's about acknowledging the good you're doing as a team.
Makes a big difference, I bet.
Huge. Both for the kids and for you as the teacher.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that teamwork would definitely help me feel more supported.
Right.
Speaking of support, what about supporting kids academically?
Yeah.
We talked a lot about like setting up the classroom.
Sure.
But how do we actually know if they're learning,
Uh-huh.
growing? This whole section on assessment
Yes.
and progress monitoring,
That is so key.
it kind of threw me off.
It's a big part of being a good SB teacher.
Okay.
Assessment in special ed. It's not just grades.
Right.
It's gathering info to
Look
understand
at it.
where each kid's at.
Hmm.
What are they good at? What are they struggling with?
Okay.
How are they progressing towards their goals?
So it's like taking their temperature,
It is.
seeing how they're doing.
And then adjusting based on that.
Well, what kind of assessments are we talking about here?
The materials emphasize
Okay.
using both formal and the informal assessments
Okay.
to get the full picture.
Okay. I'm with you.
So formal, those are the standardized tests.
Like the ones we all took in school?
Exactly. IQ tests,
Yeah.
achievement tests.
Okay.
They give you a number, a score.
Right. Compares them to other kids their age.
Exactly.
So like the WISC, That's one, right? The Wechsler Intelligence Scale.
Yes, or achievement tests like the Woodcock-Johnson
Yeah.
that measures their skills in reading, math, stuff like that.
Got it. Academic stuff.
But then you've got informal assessments. Just as important, even if there's no neat little score.
What would those be, like examples?
Think observation.
Okay.
You're always watching your students,
Right.
noticing their engagement, their effort,
Yeah.
how they're handling the material.
Okay.
Maybe you jot down notes about something specific,
Right.
or keep track of their reading fluency, things like that.
So it's more about capturing the little things
The nuances.
that a big test might miss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you need both types for progress monitoring,
Progress monitoring, right.
which is all about tracking their growth over time,
Okay.
like charting their journey,
I like that.
seeing where they started,
Mm-hmm.
and celebrating each milestone along the way.
That's a nice way to look at it.
Makes it more positive.
It does. So what are some good tools for this progress monitoring?
One that's popular and effective.
Okay.
Curriculum-based measurement.
I've heard of that. CBM.
Yep. Short, timed assessments.
Okay.
You give them often, like weekly, focusing on essential skills in reading, math, that kind of thing,
So you're checking in often.
to catch any problems early.
Right. Before they fall behind.
Exactly. You can adjust their learning plan as needed.
Like little course corrections.
Exactly. Another helpful tool is the behavior checklist.
Okay.
If a kid has specific goals in their IEP,
Right. For behavior.
you can track how often the behavior happens,
Makes sense.
how intense it is, what's going on around them,
So it helps you figure out what's working
what's not working.
and fine-tune your strategy.
Exactly. And don't forget about visuals.
Oh, right. Like those charts you see in classrooms.
Those are powerful.
Yeah, I love those.
Not just decoration, they motivate kids.
It makes it real for them.
And it's a great way to show parents how their kid's doing.
Okay, so we're collecting all this data, but what do we do with it?
That's the key, right? Data without action is pointless.
Yeah.
First, use it to figure out the student's specific needs.
Okay.
So if they're bombing those reading comprehension CBMs, that's something to work on.
Like a diagnostic tool.
Exactly. You can also use data to group students for instruction.
Oh, okay.
So maybe one group's working on fluency,
Mm-hmm.
another group's doing enrichment activities because they've got it down.
Differentiating based on the data.
It's about working smarter, not harder.
Love that.
And of course,
Yeah.
you're using all this progress monitoring
Yeah.
to see if they're meeting their IEP goals.
Okay.
If not,
Mhm.
might need to change those goals.
Right.
Or try different interventions.
It's all about making those informed decisions.
And don't forget
Yeah.
to celebrate the win.
Oh, right. Not just the problem.
Every victory, no matter how small,
Yeah.
acknowledge it. Share it with the student, their parents.
Makes them feel good.
It's motivating.
Yeah.
Shows them their hard work is paying off.
It builds that growth mindset.
Totally. Focus on what's working.
But let's be honest, even with all this, the
Mhm.
support, the good strategies, it can
Mhm.
still feel overwhelming.
Oh, absolutely.
And this next section on self-care, it really jumped out at me.
I bet.
It doesn't feel like an extra, it feels crucial for SACD teachers.
It is crucial.
Why is that?
STAPI teachers, they face unique challenges
Okay.
that can lead to burnout.
Yeah.
You're dealing with tough behaviors,
Right.
legal stuff, administrative stuff,
Mm-hmm.
often working with kids who are struggling emotionally.
It's a lot.
It's demanding,
Yeah.
mentally and emotionally.
So self-care isn't selfish. It's about
It's essential.
protecting yourself so you can be there for your students.
If you're burned out, you can't be the best teacher you can be.
Makes sense.
It affects everything, job satisfaction, quality of teaching,
Right.
and it can drive good teachers out of the profession.
We don't want that.
Definitely not.
Mm,
So what are some good self-care strategies?
yeah. What stood out to you from the materials?
Mindfulness, meditation.
I've been hearing a lot about that.
Even a few minutes a day can make a big difference.
Okay.
For stress, for focus,
Yeah.
there's some great apps for that.
I'm going to have to try that out.
And then physical exercise.
Oh, of course. Got to move your body.
It relieves stress, releases endorphins,
Yeah.
helps you sleep better,
All good things.
and you don't need a gym or hours of free time.
Right.
Walk during lunch,
Yeah.
yoga after school,
Oh.
dance around your living room, whatever works.
I like it. But what about all the paperwork, the administrative stuff?
Oh, yeah, that's a beast.
I'm stressing just thinking about it.
Time management and prioritization are your friends there.
Okay.
Use a planner, break down big tasks into smaller ones,
Right. Little chunks.
and learn to say no
Oh, that's hard.
when you're already swamped.
So setting boundaries is part of self-care too.
It is. You got to protect your time and energy.
Makes sense.
Separate work time from personal time,
Yeah.
and delegate when you can. Your peers are there to help.
Right. Let him help.
But don't try to do it all yourself.
Good reminder.
Mm.
Any other self-care tips that stuck with you?
Journaling can be really helpful
Oh, interesting.
for processing all the emotions of this job.
Right. It's a lot.
Take a few minutes, end of the day.
Yeah.
Reflect on what went well, what was tough,
Yeah.
how you're feeling.
Get it all out.
Helps you decompress.
Okay.
And don't underestimate gratitude.
Oh, like a gratitude journal.
Exactly. Write down a few things you're thankful for.
I've heard that's helpful.
It shifts your focus to the positive.
Yeah.
And last but not least, you need a support network.
Okay, who should be in that?
Your colleagues, for
Yeah.
sure.
Makes sense.
Check in with each other.
Yeah.
Share resources. Offer support.
Vent about the tough days.
Exactly. That camaraderie is so important.
It makes you feel less alone.
And mentors.
Oh, yeah. A mentor would be great.
Whether you're the mentor or the mentee.
Someone who gets it.
Exactly.
What about support outside of school?
Professional organizations are great.
Right.
The Council for Exceptional Children, CEC,
Right.
they have conferences, networking, tons of resources.
Sounds good.
National Association of Special Education Teachers, NASET.
Another one to check out.
And don't underestimate online communities.
Oh, right. Like Facebook groups, that kind of thing?
There are tons for SPED 8 teachers.
Okay.
Facebook, Reddit, even LinkedIn.
You can find your people.
It's so comforting to connect with people who get it.
Right. They understand the struggles.
Share tips, offer advice.
Makes you feel less alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But even with all that,
Yeah.
the self-care, the support,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you still need more help.
Yeah.
And it's okay to admit that. In fact, it's a sign of strength
Right.
to recognize when you need more.
Yeah.
Talk to a therapist,
Mhm.
a counselor. That can be so helpful
Oh, yeah.
for processing the tough emotions of this job.
Right. It's a lot to carry.
And don't forget about your school's EAP,
EAP. What's that?
Employee Assistance Program.
Oh.
They offer confidential support to employees.
Mm,
Lots of schools have them, often for free.
okay.
Counseling, stress management, even financial advice.
I'll have to look into that.
Definitely worth it if you're feeling overwhelmed.
So there are layers of support.
There are.
We just got to know where to find them.
You are not alone.
Good to remember.
And there's no shame in asking for help.
Right.
Taking care of yourself.
Yes.
Taking care of your students.
This has been awesome. Seriously.
Yeah.
Eye-opening. I feel like I had any idea what it really takes
Right?
to be a good SPED teacher. It's not just the academics.
No.
It's the relationships, the environment, seeing the whole kid.
That's it. Meeting them where they're at.
Right.
Recognizing what they're good at.
Mm-hmm.
Giving them the tools to thrive.
And I'm realizing taking care of yourself as the teacher,
Uh-huh.
that's not just a nice extra.
It's not.
It's like essential survival.
It is essential.
I love how you said that.
And speaking of resources,
Oh, yeah. Always looking for good ones.
there's one that really stood out to me.
Okay.
Could be a game changer for, busy SPED teachers.
Tell me more. I'm all ears.
Have you ever used Teachers Pay Teachers?
Of course. Lifesaver for finding good stuff.
There's a store on there
Mm-hmm.
called the Walid Burchard Special Education Resources Store.
Okay. Long name, but I'll write it down.
It's like a gold mine for SIPP teachers.
What kind of stuff do they have?
Everything. Behavior management tools, visuals,
No.
IEP planners, data tracking sheets,
Nice.
all made specifically for special ed.
That sounds amazing. I'm definitely going to check it out.
It's like having a, virtual assistant
Yeah.
who gets what our job is like.
I like it. It's a good reminder that there is help out there.
Oh, yeah, you're not alone.
So, big picture. To be a successful SBE teacher,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like you need knowledge, skills, and the right mindset.
For sure.
Got to know the law, how to differentiate and accommodate,
Yeah.
handle behavior like a ninja,
I love that.
make decisions based on data, work with the team,
Right?
and take care of yourself.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's a lot,
It is a demanding role.
but it sounds rewarding too.
Oh, incredibly rewarding.
And I guess this deep dive,
Yeah.
it's given me a good starting point.
A foundation, for sure.
But the learning never really stops, right?
Never. Stay curious. Connect with other teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
And celebrate the small wins.
Yeah.
Sometimes those little moments,
The tiny steps
even
forward
the most meaningful.
when a kid finally gets it
Yeah.
or overcomes a challenge.
Those are the best.
They remind us why we do this.
They do.
And one last thought for our listener out there.
Okay, hit me with it.
You're not just shaping their academic futures.
It's bigger than that.
You're shaping their lives.
Wow.
Your belief in them, your patience,
Yeah.
meeting them where they're at.
that matters.
It has a ripple effect that goes way beyond the classroom.
That's beautiful. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little teary.
That's powerful stuff.
It's a big responsibility,
But a privilege, too.
it is. I feel inspired.
Good.
Ready to tackle this.
You got this.
That's a wrap on our deep dive into special education teacher success.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, everyone, keep learning, keep growing, and keep making a difference.